Once a peaceful town nestled in the hills of England, Halden had become a place of fear and despair. People whispered of a curse that had befallen the town, a curse that had brought darkness and death to their once idyllic community. It all began with the arrival of the new vicar, Reverend Smith. He was a strange man, with a gaunt face and piercing eyes that seemed to look straight through you. He spoke in hushed tones and always seemed to be whispering to himself. At first, people dismissed his odd behavior as just the quirks of an eccentric man of God. But then strange things started happening. People began to disappear in the dead of night, and the few who returned were never the same again. They had a haunted look in their eyes and refused to speak of what had happened to them. The townsfolk began to fear for their lives, locking their doors at night and refusing to venture out after dark. The once bustling market square was now deserted, and the only sounds that could be heard were the rustling of leaves and the distant cries of owls. One night, a group of brave villagers decided to investigate the strange goings on in their town. They armed themselves with torches and pitchforks and set off towards the old abandoned church where the Reverend Smith had made his home. As they approached the church, they heard strange chanting coming from inside. The villagers pushed open the doors and stepped inside. The interior was dark and dank, and the smell of decay hung heavy in the air. In the center of the room stood the Reverend Smith, surrounded by strange symbols and candles that flickered in the dark. The Reverend turned towards the intruders and smiled a cold, cruel smile. "Welcome," he said. "I have been expecting you." The villagers backed away in fear, but it was too late. The Reverend raised his arms, and the symbols around him began to glow with an unearthly light. The villagers screamed as they felt a cold, icy grip on their souls, dragging them into a darkness beyond imagining. When the sun rose the next morning, the village was silent. The few who had managed to escape told of how the Reverend had summoned a demon from the depths of hell itself and offered the souls of the villagers as a sacrifice. From that day on, Halden was cursed. No one dared to enter the town, and those who did never returned. The once thriving community was now a ghost town, haunted by the spirits of the dead and the demon that had claimed their souls. The story of Halden became a legend, passed down from generation to generation, a warning to those who would meddle with the dark arts. And even now, centuries later, the townsfolk still whisper of the curse that hangs over their heads and the demon that lurks in the shadows, waiting for its next victim.